Hi, this is Tasty McDole. I'm here at Russian River Brewing Company. Today's my brew day here. I'm brewing on the brewing system here. We're doing the Pro-Am beer for the 2009 Great American Beer Festival.
So I chose Tasty, or Mike as his real name is. I still can't call you Tasty.
Well, that's you're using it on one of your signs here. Right?
Yeah. So anyways, the story goes back to GABF 2008 when Mike and I talked about doing the Pro-Am beer, and he had a beautiful pale ale that was, as he called it, the Pliny Light. So he took the homebrew version of Pliny the Elder and turned it into a pale ale recipe, and an absolutely gorgeous beer. We had the plan, the date to do it, and unfortunately we had brewed a 100% Brettanomyces beer in what happens to be the same fermenter that we're brewing the Pro-Am beer this year in, and the 100% Brett beer stuck. So it sat for a good week before it started fermenting, which is a little bit dicey in and of itself. And I hated to have to make that call to Mike and tell him that, you know, that the tank's not going to be open soon enough, and I can't do the Pro-Am beer. And in a in a stroke of luck and camaraderie amongst home brewers and professional brewers, Jamil gave up his spot at 21st Amendment, and Mike went down and brewed with Sean O'Sullivan at 21A and brewed what ended up being called Tasty, and it was a tasty beer. I was lucky enough to be at 21A when it was on tap, and it really was a beautiful pale ale. Fast forward to this year, it was only natural that I call Mike again and say, let's do the Pro-Am again. But being that the pale ale had already been done, the beer that they called Tasty, it was time to try something else. And I said to Mike, whatever you want, you choose. It's your call. And he went with the beer that we chose, the Janet's Brown Ale. Is that the right name?
That's the right name.
All right, good. Why is it called that?
That's after my late wife. It was one of her favorite beers.
That's sweet. That's a nice story.
My Imperial American Brown, which is the Janet's Brown Ale, brewed at a higher gravity, took first place in the second round of the National Home Brew Competition. So
nice job.
It was an easy choice. The beer scored exceptionally well in the first round, and it was no surprise to a lot of people that it placed first in the second round. So that was an easy choice. And it's probably as my recipes goes, it's probably the most often copied, often brewed by home brewers. A lot of people know the beer.
Our brew pub here in Santa Rosa will have the Janet's on tap, and then I know we'll go into the East Bay at EJ Fair per Mike's request.
Great.
And kind of synonymous with Russian River is the Toronado, so we'll pour it there. But other than that, I'd like to keep most of it here. But if there's anywhere else that Mike wants me to deliver it to, it's his beer. So, but that's it'll be pretty limited, and of course it'll be on tap at Great American Beer Festival at the Pro-Am booth. And I'm going to sneak in a bigger keg.
So, yeah, it's going to be a really good example of it. Like Vinny says, we hit all the numbers, and it really makes a difference. That's what I appreciate about the home brewing that I do. I can repeat the process, that I can actually, if I want it to be mashed at a temperature, I can make that happen. And it was just amazingly easy for that to happen here today. That just went so well. Mostly because, Eric and Guy, they know their brew system. They knew that to get in at 154, you had to have a strike temperature at 164, 165.
Yeah.
Vinny knew that too. He had it down on the recipe sheet. And, a little concerned about, well, what's our final gravity going to be? So we took what they call here a 5 o'clock gravity, which is 60-minute gravity. And then based on that, they looked at it and said, well, looks like we're going to come in just a little bit low. So I said, well, I think we had like a 45-pound sugar addition to the beer. It's like a 50-pound sack. So I said, well, let's put the whole sack in. And then Eric said, and then he kind of raised the boil level during the first 30 minutes to kind of drive it down a little bit as well. So it's all about people knowing their recipe, knowing their equipment, and making beer. And that's just the beauty of the whole thing. It's this partnership that occurred today between me and people that I've never really brewed beer with before, but we're all pushing in the same direction.
My name is Eric Kirchner. I'm a brewer here at the Russian River Brew Pub. I got an opportunity today to work with Tasty McDole and brew Janet's Brown, and it was fantastic because it was an opportunity to work with the techniques and styles that Vinny's showed me how to brew here with, and also try to match them with the styles that Tasty McDole does on a homebrew session. So there's a commercial setting, and then comparing that and how we work there, and then doing exactly what Tasty would do at home. One of the examples I was using was, I think it's interesting the way that you have a small batch, you can feather in how you like and kind of mix all the ingredients together with your grist. It also changes the pH at different levels, where we have a kind of a, we do a lot of our specialty grains right in the middle. Anything that has acid or dark malts will go in the middle as well. Actually, the acid goes in the beginning, the middle would be the chocolates. So it was kind of neat too. We also went with a much higher gravity, higher temperature for the mash. And that was kind of interesting because I have a kind of a set temperature that I mash in at. I go a lot of times at 160, and I strike that a low, thick mash, and I go into about 151. Today I went in 164 and ended up with 154. It dialed right in. I tried to use the efficiencies, talked to Vinny a little bit about the higher temperatures, and just using what he told me, I kind of went with that. And but it was kind of neat working with Tasty also throughout the mash. He had different ideas and stuff that I tried to compare with, and it's nice to see a dark IPA come together like that as well. Be interesting to see all the aroma hops and how they work with the darker malts and how that combines. So it's a great time, and it was really fun to work with the two of them. So I enjoyed brewing today.
And what I'm most happy about this, and Mike and I had a conversation about this earlier, is that it really is a style of beer that we don't brew. It's a bigger, darker beer with a nice hop character. Obviously, we're known for making big hoppy beers, but usually they're on the lighter color scale and more in the IPA realm. So it's really cool to kind of get us as professional brewers to think outside the box and do something a little bit different than what we're used to. Yeah, actually I used Pro Mash to bump it up. I thought it was a good, we don't normally use Pro Mash, but I thought it was a good chance to use it because it would use a lot of the same variables, and it would be kind of set. The recipe scaling would work. I'd tell you the biggest thing was just getting the two-row, the base malt to the right level so that we'd hit the gravity, at least be close in gravity. Because one of the things is our two-row right now has phenomenal extract, and then you also add in the fact that a bigger system like we have, a commercial system compared to a homebrew system, is going to have a much better extract as well and better utilization. So just trying to get that interplay to make it work is a pretty big deal, and everything turned out great today. We hit the mash temperature was definitely higher than we ever do at our brewery, and that was on purpose for Mike's recipe, so that the beer has a lot of body, has a higher finishing gravity to give you a lot of mouthfeel, and then also getting the mash temperature right was the first thing that I was most worried about, and then secondly just hitting the gravity is super important. And Mike and Eric and Guy that brewed today here at our brew pub, they got everything. It was perfect. I had nothing to do with it. I'll admit it. I was at the production brewery running the centrifuge all day. I showed up in time for a beer.
Randy was all over the place. Actually, he was kind of nice. Took some of the labor out of it for me, a little bit of the extra work and the muscle. So that worked out real well to have him around. And he was real adamant about doing whatever I asked. Followed me around. I almost turned around a couple times and ran into him. He was right on my heels the entire time. So that worked out real well.
Cheers. Thanks. Good to see you.